Welcome to the O'Neill Show.
All right, y'all. So I realize that I've caught heat, right? I don't know how, but I've caught some amount of heat after our discussion this morning, and it was a very lively and active discussion. And I do like our discussions because sometimes they will get a little bit, hot and heated. But I do also realize that no matter what the discussions are, it's always love, and I feel like it's always love among us. But we've caught heat, regardless of what's going on, right? And different people have different takes on what's happening. I will say this, okay? My platform is totally designed. If you're not used to OneilTV, right? OneilTV is created because I thought that there were things for us to discuss that affects our community. And when I say our community, I do mean our community. Now, some people would say, well, O'Neill, you're a Jamaican black man, so what does that matter? You're not really from here, so that doesn't make any sense. It does. Because it doesn't matter what I do in America, I'm black. Okay, so it affects me just the same. Now, some of the things that basically we even face in Jamaica are the same things that we face here, right? And it was one of the things I think I had spoken to with, I think at one point, what is it, Linda? We were talking about it before, and I said, Linda, some of the things that women go through here in the States are the same uphill battles that women go through in Jamaica. It's no different, right? It's just a different place that you're at, but it's the same struggle, okay, where women are looked down upon or so. I'm just kind of giving you some context. This morning we spoke about the whole idea of we were talking about this whole legitimation process and where things are. Some people say, well, O'Neill, you're wrong because yesterday you were stating things, and I said, well, I made a video, and the video said, all right, friends, if the facts change, then what my opinion is going to change, because I've realized that what is happening in the skits is that the skits sometimes do not provide all of the information. When we start to argue it, they basically decide, hey, let me put this in there, let me put that in there, because no, people are not understanding what you're talking about, because they are communicating with a global audience. So in other words, context matters. You can't just basically put up two little things and then that's about it. Because now the Kountry Wayne series is realizing that the people that are watching this are actually intelligent. I assume, you, the audience, are intelligent and understand what's going on. Okay? So that's what they've realized. They've realized that this is a different type of audience. The audience is going to fact check you on everything. They're going to check everything out from you, right? That's basically what we're going to do, because at the end of the day, they've been putting so many great things in that I feel like we need those lessons. We do, okay? We just do. Especially when it comes to like family court, a lot of things we have operated on in ignorance. Even I have operated in a lot of things in ignorance when it comes to family court. The only reason why I have a little more experience now with family court is because I've been through the system a couple times myself, and I've also been through it with other people. So as time go by, I've had to basically work on different pieces. Now, what I'll get is this. Each law from each state is different. However, the laws kind of match the same in certain parts. For example, custody, meaning like custody order and those things, the laws seem to be very universal as to how things is going. One of the universal laws I've realized now is if you were married and you had a child, your wife had a child on you by somebody else, you become the father. This is something I didn't know. I've learned this since basically watching this show. And this applies to as well for Jamaica, which shows you why we're basically operating on the same data, but we didn't know that, okay? It will seem like we're not, but we are. If you come to the platform and, for example, today, it seemed as though, right, people get offended, right, when I say certain things, or if I'm making a strong argument or a strong statement. If it seems like I've offended you by speaking today, let me apologize for offending you, because my mean is not to offend anyone, but to basically provide factual information to people. That's what the platform is for. It's to provide facts and not feelings. I can't put my feelings up because it doesn't help me. It doesn't help us because it's always been our Achilles heel, or as in the black community. I know people say, but O'Neill, what does that have to do with the black community? It does. Because guess what? For me and for my platform, how I see it is this. We've always been given bottom of the barrel information. In other words, we've normally not been given the right information, so we operate from some different premises. One of the premise people usually operate from, which we're now seeing, is that a mother will think she has to give a man permission basically to be out of state or whatever the deal is. And I'm saying it depends upon your rights. It's not that she's giving you these rights, it's what rights you have basically decided to exercise. Okay? Another thing is, I've always said that, I'm an advocate for males. Yes, I am. I'm an advocate, especially for black males, because we have been disenfranchised by information. I know that I've been disenfranchised by information, right? And didn't understand a lot of things until I started going through the system, and other people have started to advocate for my rights, and I started to show me, oh, hey, look at these things this way or look at things that way. And so it has basically, what you call now, motivated me to continue to do the same for other men who are out there. Now, does that mean that I'm going to be a chauvinist and tell you that, males are better than females? No. But it's just to basically give black men a clue as to how them can fight for those rights, rather than do things like not take care of a kid and then say, oh, well, I didn't have any lawyer, or, I didn't have anybody that tell me something, or I didn't know I could do this, or I didn't know I could do that. Instead, I see my platform as a place where males can come and we can chit chat and talk along with females, and we can get a consensus on things. Because sometimes to the information that I get is even from you, the females, right? So that works, both ways. To me it works, because again, you kind of get some information. Even when we look at how to interpret the women, I may have an interpretation on women, but I've realized a lot of times that even the women on here have to say, no, Oneil, you're not seeing this, or you're not seeing that, or you're not seeing this. And I will have to step back. And I will have to basically watch things for myself. If you look at even my post today about the Denisha character, I've said I'm wrong, because basically y'all were telling me she was, sort of scamming. I couldn't see it. But eventually, y'all have been saying it. I couldn't see it right off of the cuff, because I don't have that female lens. But you have the female lens. Now I can see Dave, because basically Dave is a man, and I can see from a male lens. So I appreciate all the lenses that I get on the platform and on the channel. My aim is not to disrespect the audience or to make the audience feel as though I'm here to disrespect them in any shape or form, but it is to basically bring fact to the platform. It's to basically for us to bring correct information to the platform. That's the aim of what I started this YouTube channel to do, right? The aim of it was to basically bring fact to the platform. It's not to see exactly if I can, one up a female. It's not to see exactly if I can basically, as people would say, put a female in place, or to think a woman is this or a woman is that. No, it is to bring fact to the platform, right? Fact to the platform. So in other words, when someone says, well, the truth of the matter is your kid is whatever age, right? Whatever the aim is, right? Because my kid now is close to being 15. Your kid is 15, so it's different for your kid versus it is for a 1-year-old. Truth is, no. It depends upon the scenario. It depends upon the right you have. That's what it depends upon. So for example, as we were mentioning today with the idea of custody, what I know of a custody order from my experience with them is whatever is on that piece of paper is what's on the piece of paper. So I gave that information out to the platform, because I didn't want people basically to believe in thinking they can do anything. Now, when I say that what has happened to a lot of males is that they don't know their rights. And so because they don't know their rights, a woman can say, no, you can't do this. And so he doesn't do it because he don't know his rights. And it happens a lot among my community, the black community, okay? Or our community, okay? I don't know who's watching this, so I'm just saying my or, whichever way. Use them interchangeably. It doesn't mean I'm trying to shade anyone. That's the point. And it is not just here. We share some of the same issues. It happens the same way. The woman a lot of times will take a child and she'll try to make all the decisions on the kid, even if she don't have the right to do so. That was exactly what I was pinpointing to. And not to tell you that I was saying that, it mean a man must rough up a woman. Those weren't what I was saying. Again, my platform is predicated on giving factual info. It's predicating on giving info so that I don't know who's watching this or who may not have known something, and so they may need to learn something. Because sometimes I'm on here and you, the audience, may pinpoint something to me and I will have to go research and say, well, hey, you know what, guys? What you're saying was true. What you're saying on this was true. I see your point in this, or I see your point in that. That's about it. The other things, it is what it is. I've heard that, people are challenging me across the internet. Fine, it is what it is. If you feel like you want to come up and you want us to have a discussion on the platform, I have no worries. I have no worries to do so in love, because my aim of this was to have meaningful conversations. Only then can us as a people move forward. That is the aim of this platform, and it shall forever be the aim. When it stops being the aim, then I will cease to exist, because I'm about conversations, because that's where basically everything is. Friends, I hope this helps for those who are out there who say, boy, Oneil, has been, terrible. Oneil has been such a chauvinist. Oneil has been, giving all of this info. Oneil has been acting like, he knows more than everybody else. No, friends, I'm not God. I'm not a lawyer. I'm none of these things. I'm just a man who has realized that basically knowledge is always power. And that's where our power lies. We from the black community have been disenfranchised by information for so long. Remember what them always tell us. If you want to trick a man, just put something in that. I don't know if you got it here, but what them used to tell us in Jamaica is, if you want to basically trick a black man, just put it into a book. You understand? And what they were basically communicating was the black man don't read and him don't take time to find anything out. So because of that, he was always easy to trick. It was always easy to just to con, to do anything at all that you wanted to do. Friends, keep watching the channel. I hope you like it here. If you don't, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I do what I do, and this is the content that I do. Thank you very much. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm going to talk to y'all soon.